They say a father's job is to protect his daughter from the monsters in the world. But what do you do when the monster wears a suit, carries a badge, and sleeps in her bed every night? You don't see the teeth until it's too late. Welcome to True Stories Retold. Tonight's episode, He Was My Son-in-Law, a grandfather's story of the au pair murder. You look at this picture and you see a saint. That's not just a father talking. Christine, she was a pediatric ICU nurse. Her whole life was about keeping little hearts beating. She was the one who fixed things, and on the surface, her life in Herndon, Virginia looked fixed too, solid. She had Brendan, an IRS agent, Criminal Investigation Division. You think, okay, this is a guy who follows the rules, a guy who protects. They had the house, the beautiful daughter, and they had help. Juliana, the Brazilian au pair. She was just there, in the background, making lunches, changing diapers. You don't look at the help and see a hurricane. You just see an extra pair of hands. But the last time I visited, there was a static in the air, you know? Like the pressure drop before a storm. I'd catch Brendan looking at Juliana, or Juliana looking at him, and the air would get heavy. I told myself I was just being an old man, overprotective. But that's the thing about a grandfather's intuition. It's rarely wrong. It just screams too quietly to be heard until it's too late. February 24th. That date is burned into my calendar like a brand. The phone rings and your world ends in a single sentence. They told me there was an intruder, a man named Joseph Ryan. They said he broke into my daughter's sanctuary. The story, the one Brendan spun so effortlessly, was that he walked in and found this stranger hurting Christine, that things got physical, that Brendan and the au pair Juliana had to use their firearms, that they unalived him in self-defense. For a moment, just a brief, sickening moment, I thought my son-in-law was a hero. I thought he tried to save her. I imagined him holding her while the sirens wailed. But the grief was complicated by confusion. Who was Joseph Ryan? Why my daughter? It didn't fit. The puzzle pieces were jammed together by force, and the edges were jagged. It took months. Months of the police peeling back the layers of Brendan's life. And what they found underneath that federal agent exterior, it makes me want to scrub my brain clean. It wasn't a break-in. It was an invitation. They found the laptop. They found the digital footprints. Brendan, he wasn't just having an affair with the au pair. He was bored. He wanted out, but he didn't want to lose the money or the custody. So he created a profile on a site called FetLife. He stole my daughter's identity. He posed as her. He lured this man, Joseph Ryan, to the house with the promise of a rape fantasy. He used my daughter's name to bait a trap for her own execution. He invited a stranger into their home to create a villain, just so he could play the hero who stopped him. It was a script, a sick, twisted script written by a man who thought he was smarter than everyone else. The worst part, the part that keeps me awake when the house is quiet, is my granddaughter. She was 4 years old. She was in the basement, while upstairs, things were turning red on the floor. She heard the chaos. She heard her mother's voice stop. And do you know what came out in the trial? Do you know what that poor baby asked the au pair, Juliana, shortly after her mother was gone? She asked, "Can I call you Mommy now?" That is what Brendan did. He didn't just take Christine. He groomed his own child to accept her replacement before the body was even cold. That is why the child endangerment charge stuck, because he put that little girl in the middle of a slaughterhouse and expected her to just switch mothers like changing a doll's dress. But Brendan forgot one thing. Science doesn't lie. He was an IRS agent, good with numbers, maybe, but he was arrogant with physics. The blood spatter, that was the key. The experts looked at the scene, the red on the floor, the way it landed on the walls. It told a different story than Brendan did. It proved that Joseph Ryan, the intruder, was already down, already unalived, when Christine was hurt. Brendan didn't save her from an attacker. He eliminated the patsy, and then he turned the knife on my daughter. And then the domino fell. Juliana. She realized Brendan wasn't going to save her. She realized she was just another loose end. So she flipped. She took the plea. She sat on that stand and told the world that Brendan was the mastermind, that he didn't want a divorce because he didn't want to split the assets. He wanted it all: the money, the house, the girl, and the au pair. February 2nd, 2026. A few days ago. The jury didn't buy the act. They saw the monster behind the mask. Guilty on all counts. Aggravated murder. He's facing life without parole. He will die in a cage, just like he deserves. But that doesn't bring her back. It doesn't erase the sound of those gunshots from my granddaughter's memory. I'm raising her now. We talk about her mom every day. We look at pictures. I tell her that her mother was a healer, a light. I try to drown out the darkness her father brought into this world. When you hear about this case, don't remember the handsome IRS agent. Don't remember the scandalous affair. Remember Christine. Remember the nurse who saved lives, until the person who was supposed to protect her decided hers didn't matter. Remember the truth, because the truth is the only thing we have left. This has been True Stories Retold. If you want more true stories retold from the inside, subscribe, leave a like, or pass it to someone who double-checks the locks. Thank you.